What's up everybody? Today I am flying business class with Singapore Airlines on their Boeing 737-800NG from Kathmandu to Singapore. The total travel time will be 5 hours and 5 minutes. I'll also be checking out the business lounge and sharing my experience with you. This is a 2-leg flight with the final destination being Phnom Penh in Cambodia. The total cost is 43,000 miles and $34 in fees. I thought this was an amazing deal since it would be to fly business class for 7 hours and to be able to access the Silvercrest business class lounge in Singapore. To put things into perspective, an economy flight from USA to Europe would cost around 35,000 miles. Today's journey will start on my way to the Tribhuvan International Airport in Kathmandu.
Anytime, sir, is going no Kathmandu job, yeah?
Look at all the people. It's the outside of the airport. This is the craziest. I think it's the craziest I've ever seen outside an airport. Wow. This is my first time flying out of this airport, so I'm not sure if it's normally this busy. My taxi driver told me there was a lot of people that would fly out of here to go to Qatar and other countries to find work. This is crazy. I arrived to the airport early and the line for my flight was already super long. Luckily, I was flying business class. Having a business class line was such a clutch. Like, I got to bypass everyone in the economy line. It's the Horizon Lounge for all these different airlines. But the downside is that it accepts priority pass, so it can get busy, but luckily it wasn't too busy here. After checking into the Horizon Lounge, I found this quiet section with my own pod to relax. Once I settled in, it was time to check out the food and drink options. The lounge food here looks good. Look at all this. Wow. Way better than the food I've been eating. It's like a black label. In case you didn't know, all this food is for free and buffet style. This is probably the biggest dessert selection I've seen at a business lounge. One thing I liked was that the food presentation was beautiful. It was time to try out the food. I'm a big fan of fish fillet and I saw they had some which I thought was pretty rare for a business lounge. The fish fillet had plenty of flavor and a small hint of spice. I wasn't sure why they added a plastic wrap on an already sealed water bottle. It seemed a little tedious having to put that much effort into opening a small water bottle. The lounge didn't have a restroom, so they escorted me to a private bathroom outside of the lounge. That's pretty cool how I got to use a private bathroom just for the lounge. And the downside is it is outside of the lounge. It's pretty cool to have that secret feature. After enjoying the lounge, it was time to head to the airport gate for my flight. What was nice was that they only allowed the business class and special needs people to board the shuttle first. That way we could get priority boarding. Some airlines allow everyone to board the shuttle and it defeats the priority boarding feature. It seems like they didn't put the wheelchair people on the shuttle, so they were wheeling them to the airplane. This was another red-eye flight for me. This time the flight was taking off almost at midnight, so hopefully I can sleep through the entire flight. For a 5-hour international flight, I was kind of bummed that the seats were not lay-flat seats that turn into a bed. They look similar to the business class seats I get back home in America. Either way, they still look spacious. Each seat came with the usual towel and blanket. One thing that disappointed me was that there was no TV screens for business class even on this international flight. Instead, I'm guessing this tablet would count as the TV screen. To my viewers, do you prefer a small TV screen mounted on the seat or an iPad? Aside from the disappointing tablet, the airline offered these nice headphones to use. One thing interesting I noticed was that the route starts at row 11. Can anyone tell me why that is? There were these different buttons to adjust the seat. It's my first time seeing a remote like this. I wasn't a fan of the concept. The blanket being wrapped in a plastic bag was a nice touch. That way you can tell it's clean.
Drink some champagne, juices, please.
I had some free time before takeoff, so I decided to check out the tablet. It seemed like they had a good selection of entertainment to watch. The iPad tablet screen seems bigger than the normal TV screens on other flights, but I wasn't a fan of having to hold a tablet to watch movies.
Oh, thank you.
I was a bit confused why there were these volume buttons if there was no TV screens behind the couch. I'm guessing it was for the TV screens on the ceiling. Before I knew it, it was time to taxi and take off. During the flight, I decided to try out the sake and see how it compares against my Air France business class sake. Time to try out the sake on Singapore Airlines. The sake had a good flavor in the beginning, and then the aftertaste hit me. I spent 3 weeks in Japan, so maybe I've gotten too picky with sake. It was then time for the main course. It was a little past midnight, so I was confused why a meal was being served, but I was not complaining after seeing this. I got the herb-crusted lamb chops with braised lentils, potato gratin, and sautéed broccolini. Here's some of the other items that were offered for the supper course. A nice touch was that the airline offered different utensils and not just one fork, spoon, and knife. I've never seen lamb with this kind of seasoning before, but it definitely looked tasty. I think I was too full from the previous lounge and too sleepy to enjoy the lamb, but the lamb definitely had a good texture and flavor. I decided to dip the lamb in the sauce next to it. It definitely elevated the flavor even more. Next up was the garlic bread. The bread was very fluffy and the flavor was impressive. It was time to try the potato gratin. I tried to cut it with one hand, but unfortunately it fell apart. I'm a simple guy. When I eat any kind of potato, I like them. A nice touch was that they offered these wet wipes so I could clean my hands off without having to go to the bathroom. They had a pretty solid wine and champagne list. I filmed a few seconds of each part, that way you can pause and read it if you were interested. They also had an extensive cocktail list. Their spirit list also had premium brands such as Grey Goose. One thing I thought was unique was that they had a mocktail menu with a more unique flavor. Next up was the soda, coffee, tea, and more tea. I ordered their French white wine from 2022. The French white wine I had on Air France was amazing, so hopefully this would be similar. The dessert was a milk chocolate cream cake with banana curd. After stuffing my stomach with delicious food at the airport lounge and on the airplane, it was time to get some rest on my red-eye flight. I took a few hours nap, and before I knew it, we were landing in Singapore. Thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to see future travel videos.